Alien Among Us, Superman and the Ethics of Power. Introduction: The Man of Tomorrow and the Questions of Today. Superman, the symbol, the savior, the alien. In James Gunn's bold reimagining of Superman 2025, we are not just offered a cape and a heroic pose, we're invited to ask, what happens when the most powerful being on Earth chooses restraint over domination? This isn't just another superhero flick, it's a modern myth, stitched together with moral tension, philosophical weight, and existential urgency. Unlike the gritty cynicism of recent superhero tales, Gunn's Superman doesn't brood in shadows. He shines, but his light isn't blind. Optimism. It's measured, conflicted, deeply aware of its own consequences. In this world of chaos, polarization, and unchecked power, Superman doesn't save us from ourselves. He asks us to be better. This video explores how Superman's story reflects some of the oldest questions in philosophy. Should power serve or rule? Is restraint a sign of weakness or strength? Is Superman a Nietzschean Übermensch or his refutation? Chapter 1: Nietzsche, a Übermenschian Superman, hero or god? Nietzsche imagined the Übermensch as a being beyond good and evil, one who creates his own values, unchained by the herd. On the surface, Superman fits the mold. He's faster, stronger, and practically a god. He could rule the world, but he doesn't. Instead, he chooses restraint. James Gunn's Superman isn't about domination, he's about decency. Raised in Kansas, not Krypton. His values aren't born from superiority, but from compassion. He doesn't wield power to impose truth, he uses it to protect it. Nietzsche might have called that weakness. But what if it's strength? What if true power lies not in ruling over others, but in choosing not to? Superman answers Nietzsche's challenge, not with might but with morality, and that might be the most radical choice of all. Chapter 2: Will to Power or Will to Serve? Nietzsche, Superman and the Burden of Strength. What do you do when you have the power of a god and still choose to serve? James Gunn's Superman isn't just about strength, it's about restraint. He could rule, he could dominate, but he doesn't. Nietzsche's Übermensch creates his own values, rising above herd morality, but Superman does the opposite. He anchors himself to human values, truth, justice, humility, not because he has to, but because he chooses to. To Nietzsche, that might look like weakness, but is it? Superman's refusal to rule isn't submission, it's self-control. He's not trying to transcend humanity, he's trying to belong to it. That's what makes him powerful. In a cynical world, his compassion is radical, his restraint is strength, and his greatest battle isn't against villains, it's against the temptation to rise above us. If you had godlike power, would you use it or hold back? Superman answers that question with every choice he makes and invites us to do the same. Chapter 3: The Outsider's Dilemma, Belonging, Identity, and the Alien Soul. Superman's greatest battle isn't with villains, it's with belonging. Born on Krypton, raised in Kansas, he's forever caught between two worlds. Among humans, he's feared. Among Kryptonians, he's extinct. So where does he truly belong? Jean-Paul Sartre said, "Existence precedes essence." We aren't born with meaning, we create it. And that's exactly what Superman does. He wasn't destined to be a hero. He chooses to be one every day, guided by the simple values of his human parents. But no matter how much good he does, he remains the other, worshipped by some, distrusted by others. He walks a lonely road, saving a world that may never fully accept him. This mirrors the real-world experience of outsiders, immigrants, misfits, anyone who feels they straddle two identities. You serve, you contribute, but still feel unseen. Yet Superman never demands to belong, he just acts. He proves who he is through what he does, even when the world questions him. And in those quiet moments when he's alone with his thoughts, we see the cost, the pain of loving a world that may never love him back, but maybe that's what makes him most human. Chapter 4: The Ethics of Power. Should Superman save everyone? If you could save everyone, should you? Superman can hear every scream, see every disaster, but with near omnipotence comes an impossible burden. Who gets saved and who doesn't? Philosopher Immanuel Kant believed morality comes from duty, doing what's right, regardless of outcome. Superman reflects this. He saves not because it's efficient, but because it's right. Yet even he can't be everywhere. Every choice he makes leaves something or someone behind. And that's where utilitarianism steps in. Should he sacrifice one to save many? Governments ask, why doesn't he take control? Why not rule if it ensures peace? Because if he did, he'd stop being Superman. He'd become what the world fears, a tyrant cloaked in good intentions. His true strength isn't in what he can do, but what he chooses not to. He doesn't kill when he could. He doesn't rule when he has the power. He chooses principle over power, mercy over might. Superman isn't about perfection. He's about restraint, about choosing hope, even when the world gives him reasons not to. Ask yourself, when you have power, do you use it to serve or to control? Are you still kind when no one's watching? In the end, Superman reminds us being good isn't about saving everyone, it's about never giving up trying. Chapter 5: Becoming Human. Superman and the Choice of Mortality. What makes us human? We bleed, we age, we lose, and still we choose to hope, to love, to create. Superman wasn't born into that fragility, but in James Gunn's version, he chooses it. Existential philosopher Heidegger believed that embracing death is what gives life meaning. Superman could live untouched above it all, yet he walks among us, not because he has to, but because he wants to understand. He works a simple job, feels heartbreak, seeks connection, not out of weakness, but empathy. He doesn't pity humanity, he joins it. Albert Camus once said, "Become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion." Superman's freedom isn't flight, it's choosing to care in a world that dozens, and in this choice, he becomes more than a hero, he becomes human. He doesn't save us by staying above our pain, he saves saves us by sharing it, lifting rubble, holding hands, listening. These small acts reveal the soul of Superman. He's not here to dominate. He's here to remind us of who we can be. Ask yourself, if you had nothing to prove, would you still choose kindness? If you could be above everyone, would you still walk beside them? Superman becomes human not by losing power, but by realizing that love makes power meaningful. And maybe that's the real superpower we all have. Chapter 6. The Last Hope in a Broken World. Superman and the Philosophy of Decency. James Gunn's Superman doesn't end in fanfare. It ends in quiet conviction that hope isn't a power, it's a choice. This Superman doesn't rule, demand, or dominate. He listens, he cares, and in doing so he becomes a mirror, not for perfection but for possibility. He reflects strength that uplifts, courage rooted in integrity and morality, born not from fear but from purpose. As Viktor Frankl said, when we can't change the world, we must change ourselves. Superman can't fix everything, but he shows us how to face chaos with grace, not by overpowering but by choosing empathy, not through naivety but through intentional decency. In a cynical world, his kindness is radical, his hope revolutionary. He doesn't scold us, he joins us, and that, more than any punch or flight, is his power. Superman's story asks, can we be kind when we don't have to? Can we forgive when it's hardest? Can we choose hope even when it hurts? He doesn't just fly, he falls, questions, grieves, and still chooses good, because real strength isn't control, it's the courage to care. Outre. In a world drowning in cynicism, Superman stands not as a god, but as a guide, reminding us that real power isn't in how hard we strike, but in how deeply we care. His story isn't about being invincible, it's about being decent, even when the world gives you every reason not to be. Maybe that's the real superpower, choosing hope when it's hardest to hold. What kind of world could we build if we all chose to care a little more?